Welcome back to the deep dive. I have to admit, when I first picked up the source material for today, I was a little confused.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually checked the cover twice. I thought I'd accidentally grabbed, a children's book.
I can see that.
We're looking at a text called The Smallest Guide of Highstone.
Hmm.
And honestly, it reads like a fable. You've got a king with a beard, like winter ash, giant gray cliffs.
Clouds resting on mountains, the whole deal. It's very atmospheric.
It is. It feels like we should be roasting marshmallows or something.
It definitely has that vibe, doesn't it? It lures you in with that classic fantasy aesthetic. The Kingdom of Highstone sounds idyllic.
Super idyllic, a society built on honor, storytelling.
Protected by these ancient stone guardians. It feels very safe, very
Yep.
traditional.
I was ready for a dragon or, an evil sorcerer. But as I kept reading, I started getting this weird feeling that this wasn't really a fairy tale at all. It felt unsettlingly familiar. Like I've seen this exact scenario play out in boardrooms, just without the swords.
That is the trick of this text. Don't let the bedtime story atmosphere fool you.
Okay.
What we're actually looking at is a sophisticated, almost ruthless critique of institutional blindness. It's a case study on why organizations fail, disguised as a legend.
A case study. I like that.
It asks a question that keeps CEOs up at night. What happens when the things that made you successful, your strength, your logic, are the exact things that are killing you?
Wow. That is a heavy pivot from Once Upon a Time.
It is.
But let's set the scene, because the threat here isn't an army. The Kingdom of Highstone is peaceful, the markets are bustling.
But the text has that great line. That piece is a guest that never announces when it plans to leave.
Such a great line. But yeah, instead of an invasion, they get rot.
Decay is the word the prophecy uses. And this is crucial. King Aldrich, the ruler, he calls his sons together because of a prophecy that predicts a threat, not of armies, but of decay.
One that begins small and unseen.
Exactly. Think about how terrifying that is compared to a war. In a war, you have a front line. You could point and say, there is the bad guy.
But decay.
Decay is everywhere and nowhere.
And the details on this were, genuinely gross. It's not just, oh, things are old.
No, it's
It's grain turning sour in the silos overnight. It's bridges groaning when no one is on them.
Arguments flaring up between old friends.
Yeah. It's this slow, creeping unraveling of everything.
It's systemic failure. And this is where the case study part really begins, because you have these three princes, and they represent three very specific types of leadership.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure everyone listening has worked for at least two of these guys.
For sure.
So let's start with Prince Rowan, the oldest. He is a lot.
A lot.
Tall, broad-shouldered, voice like a drum. The text says he walked like he owned the ground he stepped on.
Rowan is the archetype of authority and hard power. He's the leader who thinks presence equals competence. When he walks into a room, the air changes.
He commands attention.
He does. And to be fair, in a crisis requiring immediate action, you want a Rowan. You want someone who projects that confidence.
He's the guy who says, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And then, slams his fist on the table.
Exactly. He operates on the belief that chaos can be intimidated. If you're loud enough, strong enough, the problem will just retreat.
And then you have the middle brother, Prince Elias. Total opposite.
Complete opposite.
He's the intellectual, he's got the sharp eyes, he's surrounded by maps, scrolls.
He trusts his mind, not his muscles. Elias is the technocrat. He represents strategy, logic, and data. He believes the world is a puzzle that can be solved if you just have enough information.
So on paper, this looks like a dream team, right? You've got the muscle and the brains.
Action and strategy.
Yeah.
Most companies would kill for that.
But then there's the third brother, Prince Theo.
Theo.
Poor Theo. He's the youngest, he's small, he's described as often overlooked.
He's just there.
Yeah, he's not shouting orders, he's not buried in books. The text says he notices servants sighing or birds changing direction.
He notices that truth often whispers instead of shouts.
Which is poetic, sure. But if my kingdom is rotting, do I really want the guy who's busy watching the birds? I feel like I'd still bet on Rowan or Elias.
And that's the natural instinct. We
Yeah.
value doing and we value knowing. Theo doesn't seem to do either.
Right.
But Theo represents observation, or to use a modern term, he's signal detection. Rowan projects outward. Elias analyzes the theoretical.
But Theo's actually...
He's the only one actually sensing the environment. He's like an antenna. He isn't filtering the world through his ego like Rowan or through his pre-existing theories like Elias. He's practicing Radical awareness.
So let's see how these three styles tackle the rut, because this is where the wheels start to fall off.
Completely.
The grain is spoiling, the bridges are cracking. What does Rowan, the man of action, do?
He does what he knows.
Yeah.
It's that classic thing. If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. He increases patrols. He orders inspections.
He doubles the guard?
Right. He says, fear breeds chaos. We will show strength. He is literally trying to intimidate the mold on the bread.
Which is absurd when you say it out loud, but people do this all the time. Sales are down, make more calls, work harder.
Precisely. It's activity masquerading as a solution.
And Elias, the smart one.
Elias retreats to the library. He's reviewing records from 100 years ago. He insists nothing happens without reason.
He's looking for a calculation error. He thinks if a bridge cracked, it must be because someone, somewhere, did the math wrong.
You just reminded me of that concept. The map is not the territory.
That's exactly it.
Elias is looking at the map, the scrolls, the records, but the territory, the actual physical reality, has changed.
The map says the bridge is strong.
But the territory says the bridge is falling down. And he's so obsessed with the map that he ignores what's right in front of him.
So Rowan is shouting at the wind, and Elias is reading about wind patterns from last century.
And meanwhile, the kingdom is literally crumbling.
And this brings us back to that prophecy. When princes fail to see, a small creature will lead.
And notice that phrasing, fail to see. They aren't failing to fight or failing to think.
They're failing to see. They're blind.
Blind to the root cause.
So Theo, the guy nobody expects anything from, is the only one wandering around the actual city. He's not in the war room.
He's in the royal kitchens.
Yeah, he's just hanging out where the food is. And he spots a mouse, a little gray mouse on a sack of grain.
Now, in any other story, a prince sees a mouse in the kitchen, he yells at the cook,
or steps on it, it's a pest, it's dirt.
Exactly, but Theo doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And the mouse doesn't run away, it just tilts its head.
And Theo talks to it. He says, "You are a brave one, aren't you?"
This is the pivot point. It shows Theo's humility.
Yeah.
To Rowan, a mouse is an annoyance. To Elias, it's irrelevant data. To Theo, the mouse is a resident.
Another living thing.
Yeah, he realizes this mouse lives in the grain store. If anyone knows what's going on with the grain, it's not the Minister of Agriculture.
It's the mouse.
It's the mouse.
So he starts seeing this mouse everywhere. It's like a little gray ghost. It's in the library. It's on the walls.
And then we get the scene in the garden. The mouse stands up, squeaks at him, and runs into a hedge, and Theo follows it.
And we have to pause on how ridiculous this must have looked.
Right. Imagine you're a guard on the wall. You look down, and you see the Prince of the Realm crawling on his hands and knees into a bush.
Chasing a rodent.
It's so undignified.
It is,
Yeah.
and that is the test. The prophecy said, a small creature will lead. To find the truth, Theo has to abandon his status. He has to let go of being the big, important leader and become a follower.
He has to trust a guide that looks nothing like a leader.
Right.
So he crawls through the hedge, finds this hidden, overgrown opening, a tunnel.
And he goes in, and this isn't some nice, well-lit corridor. The text describes it as damp, smelling of wet earth and old secrets.
He goes down into the dark.
This is the descent. He's going beneath the surface of the organization, so to speak. And what he finds is a horror show.
It's the infrastructure nightmare. It's this massive network of tunnels holding up the city, but they're ruined. Cracked walls, rotting timber supports, black water seeping through the stones.
It's awful. And suddenly, the rot above makes perfect sense.
The spoiled grain, dampness rising from below, the cracking bridges, the foundations were shifting.
The anger in the streets.
A subconscious reaction to the ground literally becoming unstable beneath their feet. The invisible enemy wasn't magic.
It was deferred maintenance.
It's the unsexy stuff.
It's the plumbing.
It is always the plumbing. Organizations love to build new towers. That's Rowan. They love to draft new 5-year plans. That's Elias.
But very few leaders want to go down into the basement and check the pipes.
Exactly.
And there's this moment where the mouse squeaks, and Theo realizes the mouse knew the kingdom better than the princes did because, and I love this quote, it lives in the spaces we ignore.
That is the core insight. The spaces we ignore. Every system has them. The back channels, the informal networks.
The people or creatures who inhabit those spaces have knowledge that the leadership in the high tower just can't access.
He found the truth because he was willing to go into the dark.
So now he knows. But knowing is only half the battle. He has to go back up and convince his brothers. And you can just imagine how that meeting goes. Hey guys, stop shouting and reading. A mouse showed me a hole.
It goes about as well as you'd expect. Rowan just laughs in his face. You expect us to trust a rodent.
He attacks the messenger.
He does. And Elias is skeptical too. He asks, why now? Why is the rot happening now? He wants a logical timeline.
But Theo has the perfect answer. When they ask why the mouse knows and they don't, he just says, because no one was looking.
It's a mirror. He forces them to confront their own negligence. He's not arguing the mouse is a genius engineer.
No.
He's arguing that the mouse is the only one with eyes on the problem.
He drags them down there, the tour of the tunnels, and I think this is where the reality check hits.
The collapse of their egos.
Rowan, the big strong prince, sees a massive stone beam cracked in half. Elias sees the water flow patterns are all wrong.
Rowan realizes his sword can't fight a collapsing tunnel. Elias realizes his maps were drawing a kingdom that doesn't exist anymore.
They're silenced. And in that silence, they finally start to listen.
And just in time, too, because the story really ramps up here.
We get the climax. A storm hits Highstone, and this isn't a drizzle, this is a deluge.
Thunder shaking the walls, rain lashing down, and because they now know about the tunnels, they realize the main support under the castle is about to snap.
And this is where the story shifts from a critique to a model of crisis response.
Yes, because Theo found the problem, but let's be honest, Theo cannot fix this problem. He's small, he's not an engineer.
If it were just Theo, the castle would fall. He needs the brothers.
He does.
So they rush down to the critical tunnel. Water is rising, mud is sliding.
It's chaos. And we finally see why Rowan and Elias are princes. Rowan steps up. He sees a main timber beam buckling. He doesn't analyze it.
He jams his shoulder under it.
He uses that immense physical strength to literally hold the ceiling up. He becomes the pillar. He buys them time.
And Elias, he's not looking at old scrolls anymore. He's looking at the water.
He's doing real-time calculus, screening instructions. Dig a trench here. Brace that stone at a 45-degree angle.
He's applying his logic to the messy, wet reality. He turns the chaos into a plan. And Theo, what's he doing while one brother is weightlifting a castle and the other's doing math?
Theo is the nervous system. He's in the middle of the chaos. He's shouting to Rowan, hold, it's shifting left. He's telling Elias, the water is breaking through the north wall.
He's the connection between the muscle and the mind.
Yes, he's also keeping the workers calm, keeping them focused, and he's watching the mouse, seeing where it runs to anticipate the next leak.
It's this perfect synergy. You can see it, cinematically. The strength, the strategy, and the observation finally working together.
And that is the only way they survive. If Rowan had just shouted, the water wouldn't have listened. If Elias had just planned, the beam would have crushed him.
And if Theo had just watched, they all would have drowned.
He needed all three.
The storm passes. The water recedes. The beam holds. Highstone stands.
And afterwards, they find the mouse, soaked, trembling on a ledge. And Theo picks it up.
And he whispers, "You saved us."
It's such a tender moment. It validates the entire journey. The smallest thing in the kingdom saved the biggest thing.
The aftermath is really interesting, too. The brothers rule together after their father passes, but the biggest change isn't in the throne room.
No, it's that the tunnels are never forgotten again.
They institutionalized the lesson. They realized you can't govern from the top if you aren't inspecting the bottom.
They made the spaces they ignored part of their daily reality.
And the mouse. The legend says it vanished, but some people claim they still see a gray shadow darting along the walls.
Watching, guiding, reminding. I like to think of it as a permanent audit. A reminder that you can never get too comfortable.
So bringing this back to our listeners, we don't live in Highstone. Most of us don't have castles, but we all have tunnels.
We do.
Yeah.
And we all have that tendency to be a Rowan or an Elias. We want to power through problems, or we want to think our way out of them.
But the lesson of Highstone is that we need to cultivate our inner Theo.
We need the courage to stop, be quiet, and look at the things that seem, beneath us.
What does that look like practically? Is the mouse an annoying intern? A customer complaint?
It's the anomaly. It's the thing that doesn't fit your narrative. Maybe it's a junior employee who keeps asking a dumb question that actually points to a flaw in your strategy.
Or maybe it's that weird noise in your car engine that you keep turning up the radio to ignore.
That's a great example. Or a feeling in your gut that a relationship isn't right, even though on paper, on the map, it looks perfect.
That's the rot, isn't it? The map says everything is fine, but the territory feels wrong.
Exactly. And the mouse is the small signal telling you to look deeper. The question is, do you have the humility to follow it? Do you have the courage to crawl under the hedge?
Because that's where the truth is.
That's where it is.
And as the story shows, if you catch it early enough, you can fix the foundation before the storm hits.
But if you wait until the castle starts shaking,
It might be too late.
the prophecy was a warning, but it was also an invitation. When princes fail to see, it's an invitation to open your eyes.
Well, I'm certainly going to be looking at the cracks in my sidewalk a little differently today.
And maybe paying a bit more respect to the mice.
Just don't chase them into any bushes unless you're really sure.
No promises.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into High Stone. Keep your eyes open, watch for the small things, and we'll see you next time.